We may not have gotten a lot of movies in 2020, but we can still rank our favourites. Hey there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we are of course in a brand new year, and I wanted to look back at 2020 and just give you some of my top 10 horror movies. And guys, as always, remember, if you want to leave your list in the comments, make sure you leave them down below. Remember guys, everyone's list is going to be different. Pretty confident nobody will have the same list as me. But let's jump into it guys. Coming in at number 10 is Freaky. Freaky is a modern retelling of the classic body swap story we all come to know. This one stars Vince Vaughn as a serial killer who ends up swapping his body with a teenage girl. Now what I love about this movie is honestly just how funny it is. Having a teenage girl be the serial killer who goes to school. She kind of hacks up cheerleaders, jocks, anyone that kind of gets in her way. And then you have Vince Vaughn playing a teenage girl trying to get his soul back into the right body. There's a lot of great kills in this one, but they're done in a very slapstick way. If you like Happy Death Day, if you like movies like that do have quite a few scares but a lot of comedy, you'll really like this one. Coming in at number 9 is Possessor. Now this one is done by Brandon Cronenberg, so you know it's going to be a really good body horror. The movie follows an agent who spends her time actually taking over the bodies of different people through different jobs and tasks she's assigned to. Now what I like about the movie is we actually follow her character throughout the entire movie and see the effects this actually has on her body and her mind. It's a very gory movie, but it's also really action-packed. Normally guys, I wouldn't throw on a movie that's a little bit more action-packed. I'm not a huge action fan, but I absolutely love this one. It has a great mix of action and horror, and as I said, the gore keeps you interested the entire way through. At number 8 we have Becky, which follows a young girl who goes to visit her father, and in a very bizarre turn of events, neo-Nazis show up and start hunting them down. Now what they don't know is Becky herself is an absolute badass and takes matters into her own hands. Throughout the movie she takes out the neo-Nazis in a lot of different fun, creative ways, but mainly what I like about the movie is just how much action it actually has. Going into this one as well, I wasn't too sure about it, but I absolutely loved it. There's a lot to love with this movie, but Becky, of course, is a star of the movie. Next up at number 7 is Sputnik. Now this one is a Russian sci-fi horror movie, and if you like movies like Alien, it's a perfect one to watch. The movie, it does have this kind of Hollywood glasses shine over the movie throughout, which really does kind of modernize it, but at the same time it will bring you back to those classic sci-fi horrors. The film is also very scary. It's quite terrifying. With this, it's probably the scariest one I have on the list. The movie also goes at a very fast pace, which I enjoyed myself. I wasn't sure when it started what way it would be, but I had a blast with the movie. I would describe it as best as a roller coaster ride. Taking the 6th spot is The Rentals, your Airbnb horror movie. The movie centers on two couples who rent out an Airbnb over a weekend and soon discover that somebody is actually stalking them. So somebody has cameras in the house and is watching their every move. This is a really fun movie. It's definitely a slow burn of a movie. I will say guys, a lot of the storyline actually just revolves around the couples. You really spend a lot of time with the characters to the point that when you get to the end of the movie, when things start really ramping up a gear, you care for every single character. With the movie though, what I will say as well is it reminded me a lot of Friday the 13th Part 3, particularly the last act of the film. Now if you like a good slasher movie, this will be a good one to throw on. All I'll say guys, it is a little bit different than your typical slasher, but give it a chance. Coming in at number 5 is His House, which centers around a refugee couple who escaped their homeland, this really traumatic event, and then have to go to the UK and try to rebuild their life. Now unfortunately for them, when they get there, they're actually haunted by ghosts from their past in really harrowing, horrible ways. I found the movie quite interesting because it does look at the whole refugee process and what these people have to go through when they're trying to rebuild their life. There's a lot of racism in this movie, but at the same time, there's a lot of traumas from their past that they are trying to deal with. And you can see how that really messes up their mind and the support isn't there for them. The performances in this are absolutely perfect, but so is the costume design, particularly when it comes to the ghosts that these characters are seeing. What I'll say guys is with the ghosts in this, they are downright terrifying. Some of the creepiest and scariest kind of ghosts I've seen in movies in a very long time. When you think of movies like The Conjuring and Insidious and how they kind of all tend to roll into each other over the last few years, this one is a lot different. In particular, it has a meaning behind it. You invest in these characters because you can see the traumatic events that they did survive and what this new world is giving them also. As I said, it's a scary movie for sure. If you're not a fan of jump scares, there are a lot of jump scares in here, but I would actually say push through it for the story alone. It's a harrowing look at the refugee process and definitely one you should check out. Now making it to number 4 is The Hunt, which centers around 12 strangers who wake up in an unidentified location and actually have to fight to survive. This one is a hilarious movie, and at the same time it's a whole lot of action. There's a lot going on in this movie. Mainly guys, what I will say is a lot of people are a bit wary about this one. There was a lot of drama when it was originally coming out. It was meant to come out in I think 2019, and in the end, even with the pandemic, they finally got it out in 2020. It is kind of a political satire at times. It essentially involves a bunch of Democrats that are hunting down Republicans. But what I like about the movie is it actually pokes fun at everyone in it. The movie plays a lot like Final Destination meets The Hunger Games, and I enjoy that about it. The deaths, they are over the top, they're bizarre, and they're very gory, but in a very slapstick way. I will say guys, check this one out. I wouldn't be wary about the storyline necessarily because it's not as smart as it thinks it is, but that's not also a bad thing. Now down to our final 3, and coming in 3rd place is Host. So this one centers around a group of friends that actually hold a seance during the pandemic we're all in. So they are in lockdown. This one is very creative, of course, it's very original, and it's something we hadn't really seen too much before. The closest I can think to this movie is Unfriended, but I do think Host does it much better. And just what I like about this movie is how they actually scare the audiences with the budget that they have. So again, everything is on a Zoom call, but they use things like filters and backgrounds in really creepy, bizarre ways just to make you feel unnerved. The movie, it's a lot of fun, and it's also quite a short movie. I think it's about 50 minutes long. I think at the moment you can watch it on Shudder, but guys, the best way to watch it is on your laptop with the lights off and your earphones in. You'll get the full experience, and I guarantee you it is very scary. Coming in at 2nd place is Relic. Now this one, it's an Australian horror movie, and it deals a lot with a family that's going through the traumas of dementia. The movie is absolutely amazing. I honestly cannot say enough good things about it. What I will say though guys, it's a very cold, harrowing and emotional movie. It's really tough to get through at times just because of the subject matter. Now they do introduce horror elements. They introduce this pretty much haunted house at times. That does make the movie feel a little bit bizarre, but when you get to the end of the movie and it comes full circle, it's all worth it. The performances in this one are downright amazing. The set design in particular, and how you kind of see the house morph into this horrible hell-like place towards the end of the movie will make you feel very unnerved. I can't say enough good things about this one guys. Again, it's an Australian horror movie that I don't think enough people talk about. Check it out if you get a chance. And taking 1st place is The Invisible Man. So the movie follows a woman trying to escape an abusive relationship only for her abuser to go invisible. Now the movie, of course, is a modern retelling of Universal's The Invisible Man. At first I was kind of unsure about the movie with the plot line, but honestly they pull it off extremely well. The movie, it is science fiction, of course, it's bizarre at times, but it also has a very realistic feel to it. What I like about the movie as well, it's very scary, particularly of how they show the Invisible Man. Throughout the whole movie he is invisible, so you can actually see him on screen, but that just makes the movie feel a lot creepier. Just the way they use certain tracking shots and sound design in particular constantly keeps you on edge. The movie also has a lot of surprising twists and turns, but Elizabeth Moss is by far the best part of the movie. For me, anything she touches, she turns to gold. Her performance in this is harrowing, it's very tragic, but at the same time, you can see her fight throughout the entire movie. I saw this movie way back in January, while we could go to the cinemas at the time, and it still has stuck with me. It's by far my favourite horror movie of 2020, but it's also my favourite movie of the year. But guys, that is just my own list, my ranking of my top 10 horror movies of 2020. As I said guys, if you want to leave your list down below, make sure you drop it in the comments and we can chat about it. As always guys, remember, if you like, you can subscribe to the channel, you can pop on the notification bell. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure guys you click the video down below, and I will see you in the next one.